How's it going, everybody? My name is Box from Box and Jackalope, and welcome back to Day 14 of Panduary. Now, I know this is a little bit after Day 14, but this is one of the topics that I wanted to cover with my good friend Skoll Shorties. The prompt today is Cloud Serpent, and we're going to talk about the short story, The Strength of Steel, basically about the Dragonmaw orc named Koak and his Cloud Serpent. So welcome, Skoll.
Hello. It's been a while.
It has been quite a while. The last time you were on, I think, well, the Remembering the Mists episode, I think that was the one you were on last.
Was it? Alright, I'll go by your word.
So, this is a really interesting short story that you can actually read anytime for free right off the World of Warcraft website. I'll put a link in the description below. If you're a fan of the Horde, Panduary, or Warcraft's lore in general, this is one of those stories that's a bit undertold, in my opinion. I don't really see a lot of people talking about it, and this character, Koak, I think would be really awesome if used in the game in the future. It gives us a little bit more world building, a little bit more, I guess, detail about the Order of the Cloud Serpent. Actually, I'd say a lot more detail, if I'll be honest. But yeah, Skoll, would you like to tell a little recap, since I know you're a lot better doing recaps than I am, about Koak, the Dragonmaw orc?
Yeah, I'd say I can do a pretty decent job just going on memory alone. So Koak, the Dragonmaw orc, this is very rare for most Dragonmaw orcs, but he had just normal green skin. Most Dragonmaw that we saw either had the crimson red skin from Outlands, or the very pale gray color from the Twilight Highlands and the Wetlands. But Koak was born pretty much in the internment camps as a young orc, and he was basically told the stories of the Dragonmaw, and, how they tamed dragons, how they, brutally controlled them throughout the Second War. And Koak basically, he dreamed of doing the same, fulfilling of his ancestors' legacy, and, controlling his own dragon. And then we kind of do a little time jump skip to when he's an adult, and he's being sent to Pandaria by Garrosh. And in the process of landing, or crashing rather, he and his crew end up accidentally killing a fully grown Cloud Serpent mother. Of course, she doesn't die right away, but she's dying, and only one of her eggs, I believe, survives, and she forcefully gives it to the Dragonmaw orc, and he's very hesitant. He's very, what are you doing? I don't want this. But he takes it anyways.
He's like that for a while, too, in the story.
Oh yeah, he's like, I don't want this. This thing's weak. This thing's pathetic. He has this attitude that is very common within orcs. Very common, especially within Dragonmaw orcs. Dragonmaw are probably one of the most sinister out of all of the orc clans, in my opinion. Besides, of course, Gul'dan's clan, not Shadowmoon, the Storm Reavers. But so Koak, he's having this, big ol' arc of trying to, both be a Dragonmaw orc and also raise this baby Cloud Serpent who hatches and, bonds with him, and, in a very similar fashion to how the questline starts with us in the daily, where you, as a player, you raise a Cloud Serpent. You bond with it, it hatches, it grows with you, you teach it things, you race with it, you befriend it. Koak isn't like us. He's a Dragonmaw orc. He wants to make this thing into a weapon. It's not his friend, it's not his family, it's a weapon to him, and he wants to use it as that. And throughout the whole story, it slowly develops into him not wanting to be this way. He does not want to be what the Dragonmaw were. He wants to instead... It's a very long arc, of course, and the Order of the Cloud Serpent kind of guide him along into this way. But for the most part, he chooses to do it himself. He chooses to instead raise this Cloud Serpent, befriend it. It's very similar to the How to Train a Dragon movie and series, where you befriend a dragon as well and train it and bond with it. but he basically befriends it after a very long time. You know, at times he hurts it, it gets angry and hates him, you know, but they ultimately they become good buddies, they become good friends, and this is right around the time of the rebellion, and Koak decides to instead fight against Garrosh Hellscream and join the rebellion. It adds up everything together because of his arc with the Cloud Serpent. Had he never found the Cloud Serpent, he probably would have sided with Garrosh, he probably would have remained in his ways of trying to preserve the Dragon Maw, and he just, you know, he changes. The Cloud Serpent helps change him into a better orc, a better person, and it's unfortunate we never see him in the Rebellion, we never see him in the game. I would personally love to see a Dragon Maw orc lead, this Dragon Maw orc in particular, lead the Dragon Maw clan. We only have one orc at the time who I believe is the leader, simply by rank alone. He was an NPC in the Wetlands, a quest giver. I don't remember his name. He's like Sergeant something.
Oh, I remember that guy, actually. I forget his
like
name.
Sergeant Grimjaw or something. I don't remember. But he's like the only notable Dragon Maw who leads it. I would love it if Koak led the Dragon Maw, though. He'd be the perfect one to lead it in the current horde. And his Cloud Serpent, Steel. I believe that's what his name was, Steel.
I believe he actually names it Steel at the end, and I remember there was actually a little cool notation of why he names it Steel. Let me see if I can find it really, really quick. Okay, so here's the little bit from the storyline we were talking about. So Koak at the end of the story is talking to the Panduary and Anil about his name for the Cloud Serpent. So earlier in the story, her and Koak have a discussion about iron and steel, and he tells her that steel is the stronger of the two. And basically what she says is, with iron, a smith heats and hammers the metal, forcing it into the shape he or she wants it to be, which Koak is basically trying to do the whole story. But basically, with steel, you forge it with care, you forge it with love, and it becomes a really strong metal. So that's a really, really nice connection I liked. And that was the message. So
hey,
it was
Iron Horde.
Ah!
Hey,
see, guys,
I didn't even think about that. Wow, Blizzard.
I never thought about that, but that is
you mad lads.
That's why basically the whole title is called The Strength of Steel. But the thing I like about this, and I think this goes to one of the big things in Pandaria, is that people can change too. Like that was I think supposed to be one of the things with like Garrosh at the end of War Crimes, but it never happened. But I felt it with this character. I know it's like a weird connection to make. It probably wasn't intended at all, but I always found that a cool thing about this short story. Also, how awesome would it be to see a Dragon Maw orc ride into battle on a Cloud Serpent, especially one that was developed like this? I would love to see a cameo from this character in the future. I think we could get a really, really cool storyline that way. Even if, say, we get a Cataclysm revamp in the future, right? And the Order of the Cloud Serpent is doing something outside of Pandaria, or I don't know, or the Dragon Maw are doing something, and we find out that Koak took over the clan after Warlord Zayla died. It would be nice to have a developed character like this. And I will say one thing about the short story, that the way it's written is really good. Like, there's scenes in it that are almost really uncomfortable to read, and you're like, come on, Koak, don't think that way, don't think that way, don't do that. The scene where he hurts the serpent is, like, really intense and, like, really, like, sad when you read it. It's a good story. It's a very, very good story.
I remember, this is, speaking out of, like, our peers' experience, I remember when I read this story, it really motivated me to write my own story of, you know what's really funny about this, and Goliath is gonna love this, speaking again out of RP terms, Ban owned a Cloud Serpent, and the Cloud Serpent's name was Goliath.
Oh, no way!
Yeah. I had no, you know, it was mostly because the creature, because I took it in my own canon because Lorelker Cho, he owned a Cloud Serpent, and it was small and tiny, but then it could become big, and I was like, ooh, I want to use that for Ban's Cloud Serpent, so that's why Ban would name it Goliath, because it became so large and big, but it became small at the same time. It was a green one. It was a jade one, because I love green.
I was about to bring up Skoll. I remember when I first did the quest line, actually on my Troll Elemental Shaman, I took the jade one, just because that was my favorite color as well.
Ayy!
But overall, I think we can both say that this is a really good story. I mean, we could talk about it. I highly recommend you go read it on the website. And again, Koak is an awesome character, and it's fun to just, even years down the line, bring this up. I love it when Blizzard does these little short stories like this.
I miss them, honestly. They kind of stopped. They did them a lot during Cataclysm and Mists, but they haven't really done much of them lately, especially in BFA. They really only did the Elegy books, which came with the expansion, and that was about it. I really hope they do that with Shadowlands in some form. I really hope we see Koak again. He is a great character, a phenomenal character, and he would be perfect for the new Horde, the new Horde, you know? The one that's coming into terms after Battle for Azeroth. We need more orcs like Koak. I'd love to have.
We need some new orc characters for sure. I totally agree with you there. And one like this, it's connected to Pandaria. Hell yeah.
Oh yeah, hell yeah. I love that connection. I love my OG orcs. I love Thrall. I love Rexar. I love Drexar, and all that. I love those orcs, but yeah, I definitely agree. We need to have more orcs like Koak here appear into the frame. I was surprised we didn't see him in the Rebellion. I was surprised we didn't see him in Draenor, and so on. He would have been a great class follower in Legion for like hunters or something, you know? Like he's the only hunter that was able to tame a cloud serpent as a hunter pet. That'd be great.
That would be so cool. But anyway, Skoll, thank you for being on today. I always love talking about this topic. Actually, this is the first time I've talked about this topic, but thanks again for being on today. Make sure you guys check out Skoll Shorties on YouTube. I hope everybody's had a great Panduary. We have a few more videos we're going to do this month. I'll keep the topics a surprise. But it's been a really, really fun month. I've really enjoyed looking at all the stuff on Twitter. Thanks again to Kath for creating this awesome Pandaren-themed event. And we'll see you guys next time.
Bye!